Hey everyone, and welcome back to another super investor video. These videos happen every 3 months when we get to look at what these super investors, these billionaire investors did in the past 3 months. This is very important to note. These are moves that happened last quarter and we only get to see what happened right now. We'll get to see what happens in Q1 3 months from today. This is called the 13F season. Basically, every time a quarterly report must be filed by all institutional investment managers with at least $100 million in asset under management. We also talked about Nvidia because companies also have to file 13Fs. Nvidia's, Google, and many others will file or have already filed their 13F in the last couple of days. We've talked about Nvidia's investment, the selling and the buying. If you missed that, that will be in the top right corner. In this one, as always, we're going to talk about the super investors, the Bill Ackmans, Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, Mohnish Pabrai, Pat Dorsey, etc., etc. Usually I split them into 2 videos, but I thought, you know what, we'll put all of them in one single video. So if you enjoy these type of videos, leave it a thumbs up, subscribe if not, we really appreciate that. We're really close to reaching 80,000 subscribers, and then, well, then it's the big one, then it's 90, and then 100,000. So hopefully you enjoy these type of videos. You can always unsubscribe later on, right? So there is that. And if you want to support me even further, do check out the link down in the description and in the pinned comment with the top 10 best stocks to buy now, or go to fool.com/couchinvestor. Thank you very much. We'll start off with a quick one here, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation Trust. Not much has happened. He opened a new position in McDonald's. They apparently use his potatoes because he does own a lot of agricultural fields. So, okay, makes sense. He sold a little bit more of Microsoft, reduced that position by just 1.73% and reduced another 11.21% of Berkshire Hathaway, completely sold out of Vroom. And so if we look at the portfolio, how many stocks there are 24 stocks in that portfolio worth around $42 billion. And we can see that Microsoft is still the number one, 28.55% of the portfolio, Berkshire Hathaway number 2, and then Waste Management number 3. I covered Waste Management a couple of days ago if you're interested in hearing about that. Then all the others are pretty stable and very, very strong companies and have been quite strong for a long time. Yes, if you didn't know, he does own Coupang. Moving up to the big guy, Warren Buffett, Berkshire Hathaway. Again, I don't know, I highly doubt that he's the one making the moves. By the way, the same thing with Ray Dalio's Bridgewater. It's not Ray Dalio anymore, it's someone else. So when you hear or read about he opened a position in Tesla or doubled his position of PayPal, it's not him, it's Bridgewater. So Berkshire Hathaway, what happened last quarter? Well, they added even more to Domino's Pizza. Domino's Pizza was a new position in Q3, as you can see right here, alongside Pool, which they also added quite a lot in the last quarter, 48.17%, adding even more to Sirius XM Holdings, 11.71%, VeriSign, a small addition, Occidental Petroleum, also a small addition, and then the new company in the portfolio is Constellation Brands. I didn't know what they did, so here it is. Constellation Brands produces some of the world's most iconic beer, wine, and spirit brands. So, okay, now we know. They say, see how we elevate with every glass raised. It's a Fortune 500 company. Constellation is the largest beer import company in the United States measured by sales and has the 3rd largest market share of all major beer suppliers. Interesting. Well, the more we know. Maybe I'll do a specific video about that in the future. And so looking at Berkshire Hathaway's portfolio, we see 38 stocks. The portfolio is valued over $267 billion. Apple still being the number 1. Then we've got American Express, Bank of America that has been reduced by 14.72%. Then we've got Coca-Cola, Chevron, Occidental Petroleum, Moody's, Kraft Heinz, Chubb, which was the mystery company that they were allowed to buy but not say who that was. To me, that still doesn't make any sense. So there you have it. I mean, again, not much has changed in the top 10 for Berkshire Hathaway. Oh yeah, one thing here, New Holdings, they reduced that position by 53.52%. It's a big reduction, but then again, the position was extremely small to start with. Up next, we have here Monish Pabrai from Pabrai Investments. He basically invests in very specific industries. And we can see that again for the quarter, well, actually, no, not again. He basically sold out completely of Arch Resources. We can see that in the last couple of quarters. Well, the last quarter, he basically sold 92.10%, but the quarter before that, he added 179% to that position. So yeah, that was quite a strange move. Completely sold out of Danos Corp as well, reduced core natural resources by 22.8%, added a little bit to Alpha Metallurgical Resources, 1.57%, and then added 144% to Warrior Met Coal. So you can already see what type of portfolio he has. 3 positions, portfolio value of $253.4 million. The number one position here with 38.47% of the portfolio is Alpha Metallurgical Resources, then another 36.48% in Warrior Met Coal, and then 25% in core natural resources. So basically, what does he have here? Well, the sector analysis, materials, financials, and energy. That's basically his portfolio right now. Moving on to Carl Icahn, it's a bit of the same financials, materials. Those are basically the main sectors in the portfolio. So here we can see the reductions completely, well, almost sold out of Illumina, down 90.7%. Century Holdings reduced that by 30.78%. Southwest Gas Holdings reduced that by 12.16%. With regards to Century, again, this is also one of those strange moves that we keep seeing in various portfolios, is that one quarter they open or add a lot to a position, and then the next quarter they either completely sell out of it or reduce it by quite a lot. Also, by the way, Warren Buffett completely sold out of Ulta Beauty. Forgot to mention that. Touching back on Carl Icahn here, he added 4.4% to CVR Partners and another 4% to Icahn Enterprises. And so if we go and look at the holdings, 14 stocks in the portfolio, $7.41 billion worth. Number one position, 52.7% of the portfolio is, of course, Icahn Enterprises. Then we've got 16.85% in CVR Energy, 9.19% in Southwest Gas Holdings, and then here you can see all the rest, pretty small positions in the portfolio. Moving on to Chuck Akre, Akre Capital Management. Here we see that he reduced way more than what he added in the quarter. No new companies in the quarter. Remember, in Q3, he did add 183% to Airbnb. So in Q4, he added, well, not much, 0.16% to Brookfield Corp and 4.25% to CoStar Group. All the rest here, Roper Technology, O'Reilly Automotive, MasterCard, Moody's, Verisk Analytics, American Tower Corp, KKR, Digital Bridge, and CarMax, he all reduced those positions. The last two, over 40%, then all the rest, less than 10% reductions. In his portfolios, there are 18 stocks. It's a portfolio worth more than $11.5 billion, mostly focused on financials and services. So the number one position in the portfolio is still MasterCard. Then we've got KKR & Co., Moody's, Brookfield, O'Reilly Automotive, Visa, American Tower Corp, Roper Technologies, CoStar, and then the last one in the top 10 is Danaher Corp. So far, it does seem like there was less activity than in Q3 and Q2. Maybe this is a Q4 thing where not much has happened. Either you sell out of your losers or you basically just do some cleaning here and there, but not that much activity. Well, of course, it depends which portfolio you're looking at, because if we look at Daniel Loeb's third point portfolio, here we can see that yet again we have a long list of things that he did. It's the same in Q3. These guys do like to buy and sell, as you can see, each and every quarter, lots and lots of buying and selling. So let's just focus on the big things here. Let's maybe start with the buying activity. Opened a position in Thermo Fisher, Capital One Financial, Fortive Corp, Workday, Discover Financial Services, Primo Brands, Seadrill, and Membership Collective Group. He sold out completely of Bath & Body Works, sold out completely of Apple, Roper Technologies, which is funny because we've seen that name in the other portfolio, Amphenol Corp, CVS Health, ANSYS, United States Cellular Corp, Hawaiian Electric Industries, and then Jaws Mustang Acquisition. I don't know, that's one hell of a name this, but these are basically the positions he completely sold out of. He did reduce 6.76% of Amazon, 31% of Microsoft, that's interesting, and 57.89% of Apollo Global Management, whose CEO is Mark Rowan. I have a specific video about him, well, basically an interview that was edited on my channel if you're interested in that. Then what did he add to? So last quarter, he opened a position in Tesla, and in Q4, he added 25% to his Tesla position. He added 22% to Meta, and then another 5.61% to Brookfield. And so if we go and look at his portfolio, there are 40 stocks in that portfolio, a portfolio worth over $7.3 billion. The top 10 hasn't really moved that much. The number one is still PG&E, 13.32%. Amazon number 2, 10.3%. Then we have Danaher Corp, just under 6%. Meta Platform number 4 here at 5.3% after he did at 22%. Then we've got Taiwan Semiconductor, International Exchange, Brookfield, Microsoft is now a bit lower after that 31% reduction, CRH, Flutter Entertainment, and then the list goes on and on because there are a lot of stocks in that portfolio. But again, a lot of those stocks aren't even 1% of his portfolio, so doesn't really move the needle that much. Tesla is now 2.75% of the portfolio. It does seem like he has 500,000 shares of Tesla. Moving on to one of my favorites here, and that's Howard Marks. I also think I have a couple of videos about him on the channel. So here as well, we can see that, there has been way more reductions and sells than buys in the last quarter. What did he buy? Well, he bought Sunrise Communicat, Barrick Gold, Chesapeake Energy, Coupang, and Mesoblast Ltd. Quite interesting that he did open a position in Coupang, although very, very small it does seem. What did he completely sell out of? Ita Unibanco Holding, Banco Bradesco, Joy. Whoa, completely sold out of Alibaba. That's quite interesting. Also completely sold out of him, so I guess he missed out on all of the gains in the last couple of weeks. Sold out of YPF and XP. Now the Alibaba one is quite interesting because, first of all, last quarter in Q3, he added 83.33% to that position. And I remember him saying in an interview that, Chinese stocks are extremely cheap and he's been buying them. It's very cheap compared to the US. It makes sense to buy them, etc., etc. So I'm quite surprised to see him sell out completely of Alibaba. So yeah, that's an interesting move. That's why I like to look at these things to maybe try and understand, because of course we don't really have an explanation as to why he reduced Pinduoduo by 1.94% and completely sold out of Alibaba, or why he added 0.97% to Expand Energy, right? We don't have that explanation, or why he added 71.84% to NetEase. We don't know. We can just speculate. We can just look at what they buy, what they reduce, what they completely sold out. And remember, this happened in Q4, so it's not really things that happened in the last couple of weeks. It can very well be that next quarter we will open up the 13F and we're going to see that, actually Alibaba is back in because maybe he bought, in January, mid-January, in February, who knows. If we look at Oaktree's capital management portfolio, there are 56 stocks in that portfolio, a portfolio worth $4.479 billion. And here you can see that the number one position still remains the same, Torm PLC. Then we've got Expand Energy Corp, Garrett Motion, Secure Royalties. Basically, if we go down, we can see the sector analysis. So 18.83% of the portfolio is energy. Then we've got industrials at 17.6%, consumer goods at 13%, materials 11%, financials 8.56%, technology 8.13%, and I guess there is another technology 5.86%. So these are basically the positions, and here as well, look at how many positions are super small. All of this up until JD is under 1%. So yeah, that's quite a lot. Again, I don't know why they do this. This is basically close to, or maybe even half of the portfolio, if not more, is under 1%, which again is, to me, is quite strange, because why have this? Maybe just for diversification's sake. I don't know. Of course, they're playing here with a lot of money, right? This is not just $100 here, $1,000 there. No, these are still millions and millions of dollars worth of positions. But yeah, all in all, I don't know. I'm quite surprised that he sold Alibaba, although I do know that it was a very, very small position. But based on the comments that he made, or maybe I'm completely mistaken, but I'm pretty sure that's what he said, it was quite strange. But okay. Moving on to Nelson Peltz. Of course, there is no Disney anymore in the portfolio. He completely sold out of Disney in Q3. I bought Disney actually a couple of weeks ago. So in Q4, he reduced Allstate Corp by 50%, Ferguson Enterprise by 2.64%, Wendy's barely touched that, an increase of 7.21% to U-Haul, 18.76% increase in Solventum Corp, and a 45% increase in the other U-Haul holdings. And so if we look at Trian Fund Management's portfolio, there are 10 stocks in the portfolio, $3.88 billion worth. Here you can see that the number one is still unchanged, Janus Henderson Group, number two, GE Air Force. Then we've got Solventum Corp, Wendy's, Invesco, Ferguson Enterprises, U-Haul. Well, we have two U-Hauls, so I guess U-Haul is combined. It's the same with Bill Ackman's Google, two different ticker symbols, so you have to add those up and see where they rank. Then Allstate, and then the last one here is GE Healthcare Technology. The sectors that he's interested in are clearly financials, because that's 46.89% of the portfolio. Then 19.81% is industrials, 14.42% healthcare, and then the rest here 12.82% consumer discretionary, 5.53% industrial goods, and 1.16% services. Moving on to William Bill Ackman, Pershing Square Capital Management. Here we can see the following. He added even more to Seaport Entertainment Group. This is a position he opened last quarter, well, in Q3, so 2 quarters ago. He did add another 15.29% to his Nike position after opening that position back in Q2 of 2024. He continued to reduce his position in Chipotle Mexican Grill, probably because the CFO left to Starbucks. And then he reduced 26.18% of Hilton Worldwide Holdings. Now, you're going to ask me already in the comments, wait a second, didn't he buy Uber? Yes, he did. But this happened in Q1 of 2025, so we're probably going to see this 3 months from now. So Pershing Square Capital Management's portfolio is at 10 stocks, a portfolio worth over $12.6 billion. The number one position, you might say, oh, Brookfield Corp. No, what did I say before? If you add the 2 tickers of Google Alphabet, that's over 17% of the portfolio. So that's still the number one position of the portfolio. Then we've got Brookfield Corp, 15.89%, Restaurant Brands International, 11.88%, Chipotle, still up there, 11.78%. Then we've got Howard Hughes Holdings, 11.5%. Then Nike at 11.26%, Hilton, Canadian Pacific, Kansas City, and Seaport Entertainment Group. Now, I don't know at what price he bought Uber, but he did say that he accumulated over 30 million shares, so it could very well be that Uber becomes his number one position in the portfolio. Of course, depending on what happens in the coming weeks until the quarter ended. So, yeah, very, very big buy, I would say. We're almost at the end here, so if you're still watching, let me know down in the comment section below. I don't know, write something funny. So, up next, we have it Pat Dorsey, Dorsey Asset Management. What happened in Q4? He added 41.54% to Google Alphabet, another 32.71% to Danaher Corp. This has been a recurring name, right, in the portfolios, Danaher Corp. I heard it before as well. I'm sure it's a pretty good company, but I'll have to dig a little bit deeper into that. Then another 27.54% into AutoZone, Sprout Social. I think this is a company he added also in Q3. And yes, he opened that position back in Q2 2024. You see, I might be a couch, but I can remember stuff. Then an increase of 15% of Upwork, PayPal. Yes, that is also true. We made a joke, I think, last quarter when he did sell a little bit of his PayPal shares, but it seems like he bought more in Q4, an increase of close to 12%. So yes, we've got another bag holder with us. Then we've got SEMrush, an increase of 6.84%, an increase of 4.49% to Wix, completely sold out of AppLovin, which means he also missed that huge jump in the share price in the last couple of weeks, reduced Herc Holdings by 35.95% and Meta by 10.5%. But if we look at his holdings and the number of positions he has in the portfolio, only 11 stocks in the portfolio and a portfolio value of just under $1 billion. By the way, the number one position in the portfolio still is Wix at 12.8%. Meta is number 2 at 12.57%. Then we've got Google Alphabet at 12.55%. AutoZone 12.4%, PayPal 11.45%, so pretty high up there. So this to be honest, this is quite an interesting portfolio, interesting selection of companies to own in a portfolio. Not gonna lie, I did not expect this selection of names. I know I've seen these stocks already and these companies, these portfolios in the last couple of editions of this series, but I don't know. I'm looking at this right now. I'm like, this is quite a strange selection of stocks, but they've performed quite well. So I guess it's working. Moving on to the broken clock, Michael Burry, the smallest portfolio of them all, yet it always gets the most attention because of that Hollywood movie, of course. So what happened in Q4? Well, what happened is, first of all, let's look at the selling activity. Completely sold out of Shift 4, which again is also an interesting thing, because if you look at Q3, he added 50% to that position, and this was a position that he opened back in Q2. He also completely sold out of Olaplex Holdings and Real. He reduced JD by 40%, reduced Alibaba by 25%, and Molina Healthcare by 16.67%. But don't stress out, Alibaba is still the number one position in the portfolio. He added 46.1% to American Coastal Insurance. And what did he buy last quarter? Well, he bought Canada Goose. I guess he's getting the nice jackets. He bought Oscar Health, which is a company I have looked at with a friend of mine. It's very interesting, looked undervalued, but to be honest, I don't know much about Medicare and ACA and what happens. Will it go away? Will it not go away? Etc. etc. Too many rules, regulations, and things. So it's not for me, but I'm sure it can do well. I believe Jared Kushner's brother is the founder or the CEO, or was the CEO or something like that of the company. So of course, after the election, they did have a positive reaction. He then bought VF Corp, Bruker Corp, HCA Healthcare. We've seen that name in previous portfolios. He bought Pinduoduo. I thought he already owned that, but I guess not. So he opened a position in Pinduoduo and bought a position in Estée Lauder. That stock has also gotten hit quite hard more recently. And so the portfolio consists of 13 stocks, and it's a portfolio that's valued at $77.4 million. So yeah, compared to all the other names that we've seen, this is really the smallest ones. Now, what do we see here? Still, he's very bullish on China because, well, number one, number two, number three, Chinese companies, Alibaba, Baidu, JD. Then number four is already the new one, which is Estée Lauder. Then we've got Molina Healthcare, and after that, Pinduoduo. So clearly, he still is very bullish on the China contrarian trade, like I like to call it. I know some of you are ELF holders, but maybe some of you are also Estée Lauder holders. Let me know down in the comment section below. Moving on to the last one, and that's Terry Smith of Fundsmith, where you can see two buys, MedSpace Holdings and Doximity, and all the rest are reductions, small, and then bigger ones, well, medium ones. And then we've got some selling activity. So this is the second guy, I think it's the second one, that completely sold out of Apple last quarter, sold out of McCormick & Co., sold off of Connex Corp, and completely sold out of McDonald's, which again was a very small position of the portfolio. But with Fundsmith, I think I've seen somewhere that he did underperform the market by quite a lot. The Fundsmith's portfolio has 38 stocks and it's worth around $23.45 billion. The top positions are as follows: Meta Platform, Microsoft, Stryker, Automatic Data Processing, Visa, Philip Morris, Water Corp, Google Alphabet, Marriott, IDEX Laboratories, PepsiCo, Fortinet, Procter & Gamble, and then etc. All the rest are already quite small and under 1% of the portfolio. I quickly went and looked for that post that I found. So you can clearly see that he has been underperforming for quite a while actually, which to be honest is quite bad when you look at it, right? You've underperformed in 2024. You've underperformed in 2023. You were okay in 2022, underperformed a little bit in 2021. So yeah, I mean, it's not that great. Let's be honest, it's not that great in the last couple of years. And so that was it for this quarter's edition of Super Investors Bought or Sold This Stock. We'll see each other 3 months from now. For some reason, the lights went out here. So I mean, maybe that's a sign for me to stop talking. If you enjoyed this type of videos, hit all the buttons, would really appreciate that, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye.